Namaskar, my dear friends. So we are going to see a very popular microcontroller from Microchip Technology, that is PIC16F18877. It has other variants as well, but our target would be PDIP package, which is 40 pin package. Okay, so this is PDIP package, 40 pin package, and the exact part number is PIC16F18877 slash dash I slash P. Okay, so I slash P is a little bit lower temperature, E slash P is little bit extended temperature, which is around up to 125 degrees centigrade. So let us talk about like the device overview, like what it has to offer. So this is the device, like link, product link, and as we open it, we will see these are the different, like pin categories that is available with us. So 40 pin PDIP package, then 40 pin TQFP QFN package, as well as 44 pin also is available. The best part of this particular microcontroller is it is recommended for automotive design. So if you are looking for a very sturdy design for your automotive applications, or even home appliances, consumer appliances, or industrial appliances where you need to be very rugged or very robust design, then this particular microcontroller is very user friendly. Okay, let us see some of the devices that it has available. So you can see, as I told you, it has extended temperature. So this is the part number E slash P. It can go up to minus 42 125 degrees centigrade. Similar to that, LF series is there. So LF is low power, and without LF it is little bit higher power. So it will be working with 5 volt also, and this can work up to 3.6. So that will be suitable for your 3.3 volt application. So if you want to work for 3.3 volt application, you go ahead with LF series, and without LF series it is recommended to work with 5 volt power. Okay, similar to that, other part numbers are also there, so that is already available. Okay. Now if you see, we have TQFP 44 pin package, TQFP 44 pin package. Okay, LF series as well as without LF series. Okay, next we have 44 pin TQFP package. This is bit lower temperature, you can see up to 85 degrees centigrade. This was 2125 degrees centigrade, that is extended temperature. So extended, if you want to utilize, it will be up to 125. Without extended, that is I, that will be up to 85 degrees centigrade. Got it? So similar to that, other like part numbers are also available, that based on your convenience you can find it out. However, my concentration is to work on 40 pin package, PDIP package, which is going to be minus 40 degree to 85 degree centigrade. If you want, you can put it I instead of that. It will be E. Okay, so if we take E, then it will be up to 125 degree centigrade. Got it? So hope you are clear about the device that we are going to talk about, like what is our target device, right? Next, let us talk about some of the features. So as you can see, the program memory size is around 56 kilobyte. RAM is 4096 bits. Okay, so that is around 4 kb, 4 kilobytes. Data EEPROM is also available, which is 256 bytes, and you can see pin count is 40 pins. We have maximum operating temperature up to 5.5 volt, so it is very suitable for 5 volt application. Lower it can go as low as 1.8 volt, but I'll recommend you to work only with 5 volt application or 3.3 volt application. Okay, it has maximum ADC resolution, that is 10-bit resolution. It has 35 ADC channels. So out of 40 pins, you have 35 pins available for your ADC. It has zero cross detection. It has two number of comparators. It has SPI, it has I2C, PWMs, and many more other features are also available. Okay, it has, like I have listed out here all the features that is taken from the website. So you can see it has low power brownout reset, it has programmable brownout reset. Now it can be programmed very easily through your PICKit 3 or ICD programmer. Okay, so ICD 5 programmer, it can be very easily programmed. Got it? So those all things we will try to see in our schematic design session. Right now we are going to get familiar about the device. So let us talk about more features about this particular device. So I am going to go into the data sheet. As you can see about the core features, if we talk about, it has C compiler optimized RISC architecture. Okay, and it has only 49 instructions as I was telling you. So just about 49 instructions and you will be able to write any code on this particular microcontroller, which is PIC16F18877. And this is the schematic design training that we are going to talk about this particular microcontroller, which is going to be 40 pin PDIP package. And this particular microcontroller I have chosen just because of the reason that it is very sturdy and it can give you a very robust design. Okay, now more features about it is it can work up to DC to 32 megahertz clock. Okay, and it has 125 nanosecond minimum instruction cycle. So you can go through one by one each one of them. I have anyway listed out here, and this thing can be easily found out in your data sheet. So to explain this particular features, let me directly take you to the data sheet. It will be easier for me to explain you here. So this is the data sheet of this particular microcontroller. So as you can see, 188 188 or it has another series which is 57. So 57 is having little bit lower pin, which is 28 pin package. Okay, as well as other pins are also available, but I will recommend you to go ahead with 77 package. Next, you can see we have variable pre watchdog timer is there. Then it has memory. Just now I told you, like, it has 56 KB memory, 4 KB SRAM, 256 bytes of EEPROM. It has direct, indirect, and relative addressing modes. It has operating voltage from 1.8 to 3.6, that is LF series. And without LF series, it can work from 2.3 volt to 5.5 volt. So this is suitable for your 3.3 volt as well as 5 volt both, but this will be suitable for your 3.3 volt only. Okay. As you can see, industrial temperature range is up to 85 degrees centigrade and extended temperature range is 125 degrees centigrade. So if you are working I slash something, then it will be up to 85 degree, and E slash something, then it will be up to 125 degree. This is how you can recognize your part numbers. Okay. Now coming to talk about power saving functionality, it has doze mode, so it can go into dozing mode. It has ideal mode, sleep mode, and all these things. So very low in microcontroller, as well as it has almost all the functionalities. It has extreme low power features. So sleep mode, it can take just around 50 nanoampere at 1.8 volt typical. Okay, the watchdog timer will be consuming just around 500 nanoamperes, and you can see secondary oscillator, which is 32 kilohertz oscillator for your RTC applications. This takes around 500 nanoampere. Okay. Operating current, as you can see, 8 microampere at 32 kilohertz and just 32 microampere per megahertz. So suppose you are working with this microcontroller as 4 megahertz, then your current consumption will be 32 into 4 microampere only. Okay. So 32 into 4 is just around 128 microampere. Got it? Next, it has digital peripherals we'll talk about. So it has configurable logic cells. 4 number of logic cells are there. It has complementary waveform generators. Okay. And it has 5 capture, compare, and PWM modules. It has 16-bit of like resolution with capture and compare modes. It has 10-bit resolution of PWM modes. It has 2 separate PWM. Okay. So other PWMs are there with capture and compare modes, as well as it has extra 2 separate PWMs. Okay. If you talk about numerically controlled oscillator, then it can generate true linear frequency control, increases like frequency resolution, and the input clock will be from 0 to 32 megahertz only. So it can work up to 32 megahertz. There are 2 signal measurement times. Okay, so one is 24-bit signal measurement timer, and up to 12-bit acquisition mode. So that and all you don't have to worry about. I'm just telling you, listing out all the features that it has. If you talk about more in digital peripherals, it has cycle redundancy check. Okay, CRC check. It has a scan memory. Okay. Then communication, if you talk about, it has UART, RS-232, RS-485, link compatible. Then it has 2 SPI, 2 I2C, SM bus, PM bus, and compatible. So as you can see, it has UART. Okay, that is most like useful, and then RS-232 as well, for RS-485 as well. Okay. Then it has two SPI and two I2C. So RS-232 and RS-485 you can like very easily put a transceiver and convert your UART to RS-232 or RS-485 compatible signals. It has up to 36 pin IO. So basically out of 40 pin you can have like as high as 36 pin IOs. Okay. Now it has peripheral, like let us talk more about like individual programmable pull-ups. Like each and every pin can be programmed, like separately. Slew rate control is there, interrupt on change with edge select is there, and like similar to this, we have peripheral pin select. So peripheral pin select, I will tell you, like the best part is this peripheral pin select parts is mappable of so many other functionalities. Okay. So suppose a pin is, like you want to assign it as UART pin, okay, UART TX and RX, TX and RX. So if it is not written that this pin is acting as a UART TX or RX, then if it is PSP pin, then based on the exact, like identification, you will be able to assign this particular pin as UART pin. Similar to that, I2C and SPI signals, okay. Then data signal modulator, it has. Then once we talk about analog peripherals, it has ADC. Just now we talked about 10-bit ADC, up to 35 channels are there. It has two comparators, okay, and it has 5-bit analog to digital digital to analog converter also. So there is a DAC that is available. So that is the best part compared to your previous device, which was PIC16F 877A, okay, 877A. So PIC 16F 877A was old one, okay, and we are talking about right now PIC 16F 18877, okay. So this is newer one. So same pin to pin compatible with the older one, but it is good, very good one, okay. It has more capabilities and more features. You can see like it has voltage reference, so internal voltage reference up to like 1.2 1.024 volt, 2.048 volt and 4.096 volt, okay. You want, you can give your external voltage output, external voltage reference also, but internal is also available. Now we talk about oscillators. It has a capability of like up to 32 megahertz oscillation, and it can work with your 2 times or 4 times PLL with internal or external sources. It has low power internal 32 kilohertz oscillators. It has external like capability 32 kilohertz oscillator, as well as external bigger oscillator which will be up to 20 megahertz, okay. So in short, I'll tell you like it has internal oscillation for your clock requirement, as well as it has a capability of giving the main clock as external clock, okay. That's also with this we are good to go ahead with the device more features. So if you see about the device family, okay, so device family, it has XX, which means it has 5.7 as well as 7.7, okay. So we'll concentrate on 7.7 device. So 7.7 device, if you see the last one, so PIC 16 F18877, L means low power and without L means normal 5 volt power, okay. You can see program memory and all these things. So it is written as 32 kilobyte, okay, and all these things. So based on this family, you can identify like what are the things that is available with us, okay. So let us now move to our main agenda. So we'll talk about the pin description. So this is our target device. In our target device 40 pin PD package, you can see this is the way it looks like. So 1 to 20 pin other side, and other side is 21 to 40 pins, okay. And you can see it has power pins VDD and VSS as well as here. So there are 2 power pins that is available. So out of this, four pins are gone. So out of 40 pins, 4 pins are power pins, and except these 4 pins, almost all 36 pins are having IO capabilities, okay. At the same time, if you dedicatedly utilize, like this is our ICSP data and ICSP clock, so this is our programming pin, okay, and this is our reset pin, MCLR pin. So this is how you recognize the pins. Anyway, I remember or I know this, that's why I'm able to tell you, but I'll give you a method how you can identify what is the functionality of a particular pin. So this is our 40 pin PD package. This is our 40 pin QFN package. Okay, and this is our 44 pin QFN package, and one more is this is our 44 pin TQFN package. Okay. So whichever is suitable to you, I'll suggest you, if you want to go ahead with a very high thermal understanding, or you want to have you need to have a thermal requirement or something like that, you go ahead with QFN package because they have very good thermal efficiency. Okay. Now, more features about it is, if you talk about block diagram of this particular device, okay, so as you can see here, it has like timer 6, timer 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, so total 7 timers are there. It has a scanners, it has CRC, it has DSM, it has capture, like C2 and capture C1. Then it has temperature indicator, ADC 10 bit, it has DAC, it has FBR. Then you can see ports, so it has port A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, and similar way it has program flash memory, so this is main central processing unit, and it has timing generator and interrupt, internal oscillator. Okay, so either you can work with your internal oscillator or external oscillator, and it has a reset pin. Got it? So this is in short the block diagram of this particular device. Now we'll talk about pin allocation. So pin allocation, you can go ahead to your data sheet and directly see, like let's say I am going to talk about 40 pin and 44 pin. So this is my 40 pin PD package and 44 pin TQ. Any pin whichever you want, you can look into. Okay. So if you talk about R80, so R80 is in 40 pin package. It has pin number 2. So let me show it to you. R80. So if you go here, RA0 is pin number 2 of PD40 package. Okay. So this is how it is, like mentioned here. Now this has the capability of ADC, which is ADC ANA0. It has comparator capability. It has CLC capability, and it has IOCA0 capability. Got it? Similar to that, you can see all other pins. So if you want to know like where to connect our oscillator, then this is oscillator 2 or clock out, and oscillator 1 and clock in. So this is, you can see RS6 and RS7 will be engaged if you want to utilize your external oscillator. If you want to utilize internal, then there is no issue at all. Got it? Similar to that, programming pin is ICSP clock and ICSP data. So RB6 and RB7. So I'll not waste time here. I will tell you like this is that one out and that one out too. However, this is a pin allocation method, but you will not be able to identify. Suppose you don't know what is ANA0. Like I am telling you that this is an ADC, but if you do not know, then also not a problem. There is a pin description page, and we will be able to find out all the things like that. Okay. So similar to that, this is continuation of all the pin allocation. So whatever you want to do, like it has SCL or SCK and SDA or SDI pin. So that on all you can find it out. Got it? Okay, so I think we are good to go ahead with the pin allocation. Now, as I was telling you about pin description, so this is going to be very useful to you. Okay, so let me make little big here. So in pin description, if you talk about, or shall we go ahead and take the data sheet and tell you, that will be better. Got it? So pin out description we'll talk about. Okay. So this is for 5-7. I will be talking. I want to talk about 7-7. Okay. So this is my 7-7. Okay. So this is on page number 26. You can see. Now, if you talk about the pin description, how it is working out is, if you see a pin is written as RS0, ANS0, or C1 in 0, C2 in 0 minus, and CLC IN0 or IOCS0. So each one of the functionality has been listed out separately and their description is given here. Okay. If it is RS0, it means general purpose IO pin. Okay. And it has the output type of CMOS open drain. So RS0 is open drain or CMOS type. Got it? Then ANA0 is ADC channel A0 input. C1 in C1 in 0 minus is uh, comparator negative input. C2 in 0 minus is comparator negative input. Then CLC in 0 is configurable logic cell source input. Similar to that, IOCS0 is interrupt on chip input. So similar to that, you can go ahead with any names and you can identify what is the functionality. So on page number 6, this is the pinout description and you will be able to identify each pin functionality and their corresponding functions. Got it? So this is how we identify a particular name and particular description of that particular pin. So actually in the pin description, it was not very clear. It was not very, in pin allocation, it was not very clear like what is this functionality RX and DX, DT. But if I tell you RC7, so let us go to RC7. This is actually, like organized in terms of RA, RB, like that. So if you talk about RC7, so we'll take particularly RC7. Okay. You can see this is general purpose IO pin. ANC7 is ADC channel C7 input. RX is EUART, matlab basically it is UART signal receiver input. Okay. DT is data input output. Okay. And IOCC7 is interrupt on chip input. Got it? So this is how it works. You can see RD0. So RD0 are basically general purpose IO. This is AND0 and all these things. So RD0s are basically like this. Basically, you can see the previous device. RD pin were basically available with PSP signal as well, like parallel slave port signals. Okay. So alright guys, we are good to go ahead with the pin description. We have completed. Now the main part is coming to know about the clock source of this particular device. Got it? So if you talk about clock sources, then as I told you, it has external source mode operation. So if you want, you can give a clock from outside to the oscillator 1 input, and if you want to take out the clock, then it will be coming out from oscillator 2 pin. Okay. Suppose you want to utilize external clock, then what will happen is you can utilize a quartz crystal clock. Okay. So I'll give you the schematic. At that time I'll give you a part number and how to design this particular circuit and exact capacitors values and all. Okay. So this is how it will be connected, like OSC 1 pin and OSC 2 pin. You can connect your oscillator up, for the external clock signal or external crystal signal. You want, you can work with your ceramic resonator operation also. So ceramic resonator, there will be a RP value that will be parallel to the oscillator. Got it? And you can see it has the values that also is given, so not a problem. You can have a look into this. The value of RF varies from the oscillator mode selected, typically between 2 mega ohm to 10 mega ohm. Okay, so you can keep as around 2.2 mega ohm or something, this particular values. This RF values will be actually like that, and RS value is this, and this is your RP value, that is parallel to the oscillator. This also varies around 2 megahertz, 2 mega ohm or something like that. Got it? And this is actually given already in the data sheet of ceramic resonators, that you don't have to worry. Next, it has low oscillator also, like RTC oscillator, that is 32.768 kilohertz. So you can utilize one crystal oscillator with this much kilohertz frequency, and you can work. Now, as I told you, it has internal oscillator in the features itself. So it has high frequency internal oscillator and low frequency internal oscillator. Okay. So that is more than enough for your all the work to be done. Got it? Okay, good. So I think we are good to go ahead. Let me give you a little bit of electrical specifications, and we will be fine with the like overview of this particular device. So if you talk about maximum, like absolute maximum rating, so at temperature you can see it can work from -40 to 125 degrees centigrade. Storage is -65 to 150 degrees centigrade. See, 16F series can work from -3 volt to 6.5 volt. It won't fail. So that this is bit higher voltage, and LF series is bit lower voltage. Got it? So up to 4 volt. MCLR pin can take up to input 9 volt, okay, and all other pins it will be taking just your VDD pin, which is this one, plus 0.3 volt max, okay. You do not need to give more than this voltage in any of the pin, otherwise there will be a problem. Maximum current you can see it has VSS pin, so that it can take maximum 350 milliampere or 125 milliampere if you are going to work with more than 85 degrees centigrade. Got it? It has VDD pin current capability 250 milliampere or 85 milliampere if it is more than 85 degrees centigrade. For less than 85 degrees centigrade, it can work 250 milliampere. You can see for 40 pin device, the maximum current that is coming up is 350 milliampere. So that we already talked about. So that is nothing to worry. The total power dissipation capability, you can see it has a capability of 800 milliwatt. So very good device. Like close to 1 milliwatt is a very big, this thing. Now on any standard IO pin, you can see there is a plus minus 50 milliampere current capabilities. Okay, so it can give you a standard IO maximum plus minus 50 milliampere, but that is not recommended. I'll give you another page which will be operating conditions. So operating conditions you can see for 16 LF series. So LF series you can work up to with 1.8 volt for less than 16 megahertz and 2.5 volt for less than 32 megahertz, and maximum you can work with 3.6 volts. So I will recommend we'll be going with 3.3 volt. Got it? Now F series, like up to 16 megahertz you can work with 2.3 volt. Up to 32 megahertz you can work with 2.5 volt, and maximum you can give 5.5 volt. So we'll be taking this particular device with 5 volt application as well as 3.3 volt application also. Got it? All right. So industrial temperature range we have already seen up to 35 degrees centigrade, and extended temperature range we have seen up to 125 degrees centigrade. Now this is a voltage frequency graph. So as you can see, 16F series can work up to 5.5 volt from 2.3 volt, and up to 2.5 volt it will be working with 16 megahertz, and 32 megahertz it will be 5.5 volt. Got it? Like up to 2.5 megahertz if you want to work, it won't be applicable more than 16 megahertz. Got it? Same way. This also up to 2.5 volt. You cannot work more than 16 megahertz. So if you want to work with more than 16 megahertz, you have to give a voltage of more than 2.5, that is 3.3 volt. So make it a very simple design. We will be working without L series, that is 16F series 5 volt application, and with LF series 3.3 volt application. So there will not be any issue at all. Got it? Hope you guys are fine. Like you have now a good understanding about this particular device. So now we are ready with the circuit design. So how we are going to design this particular circuit, what are the things that we need to take care of, that all we will talk about one by one. We'll list out all the functionalities and functions that we'll be incorporating in this particular device. This is anyway new device, okay? So we will try to incorporate as many as possible applications, okay? So let me list out the things that we will be talking about in this particular microcontroller circuit design. So we'll be trying to design power supply, programming, reset. We'll give some push button applications, some dip switches, and some LEDs interfaces we'll give so that we can identify what is the functionality of particular pin. We'll talk about I2C, SPI, UART. We'll talk about parallel slave port data communication so that we can send the data to LCDs or outside. We'll talk about LCD interface as well as timer and PWMs. Okay. So all these functionalities we'll list out one by one and we'll try to design each and every interface circuits, and we'll give you the bill of material as well. Okay, so if you do have any questions or any identification issues regarding the part number of this particular device, like how to identify the part number or which part is suitable for your particular application, or how to start your like design techniques in the microcontroller circuits. Okay, so you can put down your queries or your comments in the comment box, and I shall be able to answer you out. Thank you so much.